Hello, hello, hello. You are tuning into another episode of The Wunderkind Show. Today's topic: the true mastermind behind the debacle in Baltimore. Hear me and hear me well. So listen up, guys. I was coming across a theory. I was sitting down looking at all the pieces in front of me, and almost like a detective working for Law and Order, I started piecing together little tidbits, little fragments of information, and I came up with a theory. And it might not be right, but a decent theory nonetheless. We have all looked at it like John Harbaugh could be the actual problem in Baltimore. We have looked at that Greg Roman could be the actual problem in Baltimore. And we have also never forgotten to include EDC of maybe being the problem in Baltimore. But nobody has ever said, I wonder if Steve Bisciotti is the true evil mastermind behind all of the problems in Baltimore. And hear this. I'm gonna take this in this way. Lesson number one. When the offseason started, okay, and we were looking at it saying Lamar's going to get his paper. Everybody knows that, they're in contract talks heavily. It has to be done this offseason pretty much. Bisciotti came out before talks and stated on the record, right, that he was against guaranteed contracts. Now, we don't know if Lamar is actually pushing for a fully guaranteed contract, but Bisciotti, who usually is a man of few words, made sure those words were heard. That means that was purposely put out into the atmosphere for everybody to divulge. That's number one. Number two, he also put out of his own mouth. Remember, this is a man that does not speak to the media like that. He likes to stay in the background where masterminds are usually located, because the people in the background can dodge the sharpnel. The people in front take all the hits. But we'll get there. Number two, he also put out, remember this is a man that doesn't talk a lot, that he knew that Lamar did not feel worthy, operative word, worthy, of a big time contract because he did not accomplish the goals in which he set out to do. And then Lamar comes out publicly to put an end to that little rumor that he didn't feel accomplished enough or worthy enough for this contract. That's number two. Number three, and this is reading in between the lines. For all of EDC's poor draft picks, one thing can be made certain. EDC has tried to build a track team on this team. Fast quarterback, fast receivers, fast tight end, fast running backs. He wanted this team to be able to run and gun. I think that was his perception or, belief that the team could be. And we've watched this team divulge even more into a running scheme, so far so that it totally devalued and moved away from a position that the Ravens have always historically known to be weak at, got historically worse by the history of the Ravens organization. This might be the worst receiving core, or at least top three, that the Ravens have ever fielded in the history of its inception. Here's why I find a problem because I was number 3. Why? Ask yourself that question. Why? If you knew, right? And I'm going to show you where I'm going with this. If you knew you didn't want to pay a player a certain amount, right? What would you do to ensure that that player would have even less leverage in the contract talks? You would make sure that they don't have an outstanding season, right? You would make sure that, if he's so great, he could do it with less. If he's truly worthy of that, then let's see him do it with nothing. A lot of people are going to look at that and be like, that's reaching. That's reaching. But here's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Because remember the 3 things that I said. What if, guys? What if? Because another tidbit, a side note from the 3, Bisciotti's already said he does not plan on giving the team to his children. You see where I'm going with this? If you were in the business of being a billionaire, if you were in the business of making generational wealth 10 times over, if you were in the business of saying, I'm only trying to make money and always making sure that I put out as least amount of investment as possible, wouldn't you do the same thing? And not only that, that could lead to the fact that Bisciotti behind closed doors is actually looking to sell the team. That's why he is so against paying Lamar. Because he understands that that money has to go straight into escrow. If y'all do not know this, I want y'all to know this now. Because a lot of people do not know this. All guaranteed money on NFL contracts, as soon as the ink from the pen touches the paper, that money has to be placed in escrow. Yes, that means it has to be, you could get to it immediately. So for the Browns, they had to put $230 million entirely into escrow immediately. You're starting to see the breadcrumbs. You're starting to see where everything is starting to come through. Because think about it. He said these things. This is coming from a man that does not speak a lot. He does not let his moves be known to anybody. But he did let it be known that he doesn't plan on passing off the kids, the organization to the kids. He did make it known that before Lamar Jackson get there, that they were operating in the red. He did let it be known that previously, before Lamar Jackson got there, that he was looking on selling or maybe moving on from the team. And he did let it know that he didn't want no guaranteed contract. It would have to come out of his money bank account. So, with all of those facts, could it lean that Bisciotti's looking at this saying, look, I only wanted to own the Ravens for probably 2 or 3 more years, and I don't want to put that heavy of investment on one position. So if he felt that way, being the guy that signs the checks, because this is not EDC, he signs the checks. This guy, that's where the money comes from. If he didn't want to be known about his true stuff, couldn't he be forcing EDC's hand in the background? Because you have to understand this. Because I've called them a boys club multiple times. But John and EDC work for this man. As much as he wants to make it family owned, family run, they work for this man. They know if they step out of line against this man, their job is gone. Their time is up. So what if, in all actuality, all of the arrows that we are throwing at Greg Roman, all of the arrows that we are throwing at EDC, all of the arrows that we're throwing at John Harbaugh should be actually aimed at the head of the organization? Now look, this theory could be wrong. It could be off kilter. But you know what? Facts are still facts. And as much as we would like to disagree that maybe it's not him, we would rather place blame on the bad play calling, the bad team construction, and the bad ability to get your team up and ready to perform at its highest level, it can be exasperated by the owner not wanting to give you what you need because he's looking on making as much as he can instead of spending as much as he can. And I know, y'all ain't heard from that from anybody else. I know for a fact no one else has looked at it like this. Because look, I always tell people this. Billionaires do not like to lose. That's not how they became billionaires. Like, people don't seem to understand this. Billionaires did not become billionaires losing. They might have made losses here and there, but they did not make all that money losing. And let me tell you this right now. No billionaire is going to agree to lose to a Lamar Jackson who is representing himself, who carries himself a certain way, which means optic of belief of the type of quarterback in which he represents might be lower than the standard in which the QBs are usually looked at in Baltimore. Did I just spit a bar? Did I? Because that's what's going on. Listen, I said this in a video before, and I was thinking about it. You know, no billionaire wants to be taken to the cleaners. And look, to show you how far I've thought into this, I want you to put on your thinking caps because we're going there. A lot of people watching this are going to say, but that would be false, Nitro. What about Dallas? I mean, look at Dak. They didn't have to pay Dak then if billionaires were thinking about that. You're leaving out a part of the equation, my friend. Jerry Jones is getting dangerously close to the end. He's actually said it's come out that he's having health issues and that he feels like his time of being the owner is coming to an end. He wants a Super Bowl. And with Jerry Jones, he's willing, because he's so close to the end, of putting his ego behind the ability to win a Super Bowl. Because I want you to let y'all understand this right now. Because I'm going to make the point. Because you're going to be like, maybe not. He's not probably not dying and stuff like that. Do y'all remember what the demise of the Cowboys was? It was Jerry Jones' ego. He thought anybody could coach this team as good as it is. Right? Because remember, they got 3 titles, I believe, in 4 seasons, right? Or something of that effect. So he fired the coach and hired another one. And since that last one that they won, they haven't won one since, 1995? And he's been going at it because he's always said, look, you know what I'm saying? It's my way or the highway. He didn't want them getting, he said, I built this. This is me. That's the ego of a billionaire. Go to any billionaire. Any billionaire you can see in their primes. How did they move? How do they act? How do they carry themselves? They all do the same thing. Up until they're old and brittle, where money starts to lose its value to them. Certain things to them are worth more than the monetarily value of their bank accounts. That's the true leverage that Dak had over Jerry. Dak had father time. That's what he had. Bisciotti, even though he's an older man, he's not, he looks like he can go an extra 15, 20 years. Father time is not on Lamar Jackson's side like it was on Dak's. You understand? Jerry Jones has come out multiple times and said, I'll do anything for a Super Bowl. That's his last wish. He with his cane, he walks slowly up that pike and says, look, man, I just want to see this team get one more before I close my eyes. Just one more. I'll do anything to get one more before I close my eyes. It's something he holds dear. That's very hard to do. And I'm pretty sure Dak Prescott knew that. Because in business, when you're doing business, you have to look at it from all angles. So are we as Raven fans looking at this at all angles? Are we looking at all the facts that have been given? Or are we doting on Raven-induced purple glasses that eschew our vision to the absolute truth that's in front of us? So if I am right, in the next 2 to 3 years, the Ravens will be owned by somebody else. And here's where that's a kicker. Because if they do not pay Lamar and Lamar leaves, then it's guaranteed that Bisciotti moves on, leaves, because he won't be making the money that he wants, right? Another billionaire comes in, but billionaires like to choose who work for them. And that means the solidification of John Harbaugh and EDC will probably be moved out the door because their leash will now be shortened, so much so that would be almost guaranteed that they would have to leave, be fired, or move on to greener pastures. So, in conclusion, the true evil mastermind behind the fall from grace that is the Ravens that we are viewing in real time right now, the villain of this story could actually be billionaire Steve Bisciotti. And look, that makes it that we're screwed. Because if that theory is correct, that means us as Raven fans are screwed either way. Because we would have to sit through a changing of the guard, which they don't ever, teams usually do not just get better with the changing of guard. We'll have to sit through the changing at quarterback position, which is never good for teams when they're leaving from an elite QB. And we'd have to sit through the changing of a head coach. Can you imagine how many years it could be till we actually even see true success from our team again? I pray to God that this ain't true. Boom. Listen, I'm going to be real with you. I know everyone's going to say Nitro, bro, but think about it. When you start to connect all the little itty bitty dots and start placing them together, I'm telling y'all, man. When people stop showing up to the games, those overpriced glizzies start to turn sour. They got to throw them out. They lose money. And billionaires don't like to lose money. They don't. They do not. But you know what a billionaire would say? If I was a billionaire right now, you know what I would say? I would say, and that was another episode of the Wunderkind Show. Listen, man, y'all could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me, and you know I appreciate that. Please do remember, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Leave a comment. I love commenting and talking with you guys and stuff. You guys have been amazing. Everybody shows each other respect. So, shout out to the hashtag Wonderflock with a U. So, and if you would like to donate to the channel, at the bottom of the screen is a QR code, and in the description will be the Cash App #, The Wunderkind Show. So once again, this is another episode of The Wunderkind Show. This is your host, Nitro, signing off, and you guys know my slogan. Peace. And I am out. Maybe like how Bisciotti will be in 2 years. Yeah!